Thanks to all of you for coming out Sunday night, Spanish-Fork, Utah. As far as I know, this is the only joke in the whole talk. We start off with it. You don't have to reserve your laughter for later. Reserved is the operative word. We always get such reserved crowds in Spanish-Fork. John went to the store the other day. He was only in the store for like 5 minutes. And when he came out, there was a motorcycle cop writing a parking ticket. So John went up to him and said, "Hey, come on, buddy. How about giving a guy a break?" He ignored John and continued writing the ticket. So John called him a stupid idiot. Officer glared at him and started writing another ticket for having bald tires. Then John got really angry at the cop and called him all kinds of names. Cop finished the second ticket, put it on the car with the first. Then he started writing a third ticket. This went on for about 20 minutes. The more John abused him, the more tickets the policeman wrote. John didn't care. His car was parked around the corner. Our topic today is the road to success. Ultimately, there is an ideal plan for our lives, full of the right breaks, the right connections and opportunities, the right people. You will get married. You will start that temple, that mission. You will pay off your house. You will get that promotion. You will get through the pandemic. You will lose that weight. You will get accepted into college. But on the way to your yeses, there will always be what? No's. Thank you. The mistake many people make when they get a few bumps in the road, a few initial no's, is they become completely discouraged, think it's never going to happen, get stuck, and quit moving forward towards their yeses. Maybe you worked hard, but the promotion went to somebody else. The one you thought who was the girls of your dreams broke it off. You nailed the SATs, but you still didn't get into the college of your choice. You have to go through your closed doors before you get to your open doors. When you come to a no, instead of being discouraged, the correct attitude is, I'm one step closer to my yes. Running back Emmitt Smith played 13 seasons with the Dallas Cowboys. He wasn't as flashy as Walter Payton or Barry Sanders. He never possessed true breakaway speed, but his strength lay in his ability to persist. He just kept on running. Took him 13 years to run 9.5 miles. Come on. A lot of people get up and do that before breakfast. The big difference is they don't have 11 big defensive players trying to take their heads off when they run. Now, Emmitt's average run over those 9 miles was 4.3 yards at a time. That means he'd been tackled and knocked down 3,983 times. Now, Emmitt Smith holds NFL rushing yards record, which is 16,743 yards of persistence. Do you know that a river, and we've got plenty of examples of this in Utah, cuts through a rock, makes a canyon, not because of its power, but because of its, another word that starts with P, persistence. What if you could look into your future, you discovered that you would receive 20 no's before you came to your yes? And wouldn't you be prepared to handle it when you face a disappointment or a setback? If you knew your yes was only 20 no's away, you wouldn't give up if a loan didn't go through. You wouldn't give up if you didn't get that big contract that you'd hoped to land. You'd just check it off and say, all right, that's one more no out of the way. Now I'm only 19 away from my yes. Rather than being discouraged, you would be encouraged every time you heard a no. But too many people, when they've hit several no's in a row, they lose their passion, throw in the towel. You got to get this down in your spirit. Yes is in your future. You may have been turned down, delayed, overlooked, but that was all a part of Krishna or God's plan. The no is just a test to see if you're going to get discouraged and settle where you are. Or will you keep moving forward knowing that yeses are coming your way? Prabhupada says here, our guru, the life of material existence is just like hard wood. And if we carve Krishna out of it, that will be the success of our life. I heard from somebody that his supervisor at work was about to retire. He was in line for the job along with 2 other co-workers. He had the most seniority. He'd worked for the company faithfully for many years, but he was passed over for the promotion. They chose a younger, less experienced person. He felt cheated. Situation didn't seem fair, but he understood this principle. He knew there were already yeses in his future put there by the creator of millions of universes. He didn't grow bitter. He didn't quit being his best. He shook it off and kept working unto God. About 2 years later, the vice president of the whole company retired. They offered him that top job. His position now is many levels above that supervisor position that he'd been denied. Can I tell you that Krishna, or God, knows what he's doing? You might be in a no right now. Maybe a relationship ended, or you were passed over for a promotion, or you lost a loved one. Don't be discouraged. Instead say, I may be in a no, but I'll never give up on my dream. Why? Because yes is coming. Favor is coming. Healing is coming. Promotion is coming. I'm not going to get stuck in a no. Yeses are in my future. Calvin Coolidge, former president of the United States, he said these words: nothing in the world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful people with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is almost a proverb. Education will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. I heard that 90% of all first-time businesses fail. 90% of all second-time businesses succeed. 80% of those who start one business that fails never try a second time. What happened? They got stuck on a no, became discouraged and think it didn't happen the first time, it'll never happen. They failed to realize that they were just one no away from a 90% chance of success. What if, for instance, you know that you only had 3 more no's and then you would meet the boy or girl of your dreams? Wouldn't you just go right out into the street, ask people so you could get those 3 no's right out of the way? Do you doubt the effectiveness of persistence? Have you ever seen anyone wailing away with a sledgehammer at a big, big rock? Keeps hitting and hitting. Goes out there for an hour a day, hits that rock, hits it over and over and over again. Day after day, week after week, nothing happens. Seems like he's wasting his time. And then one day, as if by magic, he brings his hammer down on the rock, as he's done so many hundreds of times before, and the rock splits into half a dozen pieces. Was it that final blow, or was it all that went before? It was not one single blow, but it was the persistence of the stone cutter. We have a beautiful property up in Salt Lake City, 33 blocks from the state capitol, 3.7 acres of land in Mill Creek, 13,000 square feet of existing building. It went up for sale in 2012, owned by the Seventh-day Adventists, for $1.2 million. Now, we needed a loan of $450,000 in order to put a down payment on the property. Many, many lending institutions turned us down because they said we didn't have the income to repay the loan on time. Others said they could loan the money, but they needed a personal guarantee. Vi and I, we've been missionaries for 50 years. We don't have a bank account. We don't have a personal income. We don't have a credit history. Have you ever gotten those envelopes in the mail that says pre-approved credit? I got one day, and I thought, well, what can I lose? Just fill out your name and address, return it, and you're guaranteed to get credit. Filled out my name, returned it, sent it back to him, got an answer a couple weeks later, denied. Your pre-approved credit was denied. None of our members were enthusiastic about being personal guarantors for $450,000. We were turned down by a dozen banks and lending institutions. Finally, we came across a South Indian loan officer in Texas who worked for Chase Bank. He told us that the last loan he made to an Indian temple in Texas didn't work out too well for the bank, but he liked the Hare Krishnas and he was willing to take a chance on us. We got the loan, we acquired the property, and we paid off the loan within 2 years. When God puts a dream in your heart, when he gives you a promise on the inside, deep down, you know that you're going to succeed. You know that your family relationships will be restored. You know that the pandemic will be over. Your health will return. You know that your business dreams will come true. Like with this temple in Salt Lake City, you realize that every no means that you're one step closer to your yes. A dozen banks and lending institutions, some of them even specialize in giving church loans, said, no, you're not for us. But bank number 13 came along and said, we'll take a chance. Yes, we will do it. Krishna had our yes all along, but we had to go through 12 no's to get to it. And you don't know when your yes will come. You may be only 5 no's away, or 3 no's away, or 1 no's away, or who knows, maybe the next person you meet will be your yes, your lifelong partner. The next college that you apply to will be your yes. The next time you resist that temptation, you're going to break that bad habit. That will be your yes. Talking about the life story of our spiritual master, Prabhupada, who came to the United States in 1965 to spread the gospel of Krishna consciousness on the order of his spiritual master. Satyaraj writes, Prabhupada then traveled to Bombay with a plan. He would seek assistance in getting to America by approaching Sumati Morarji, who he had learned was head of the Scindia steamship line. He had met her previously in Kurukshetra, and she had donated a considerable amount of money for printing volume 2 of his life's work, the Srimad Bhagavatam. Sumati Morarji, concerned for Prabhupada's health, who was already 70 years old, declined to give him assistance. She feared that the lengthy journey at sea would kill him, what to speak of arriving in America, knowing nobody, with no money and no friends and no place to stay. He'd never been outside of India. Not to be deterred from his goal, Satyaraj writes, Prabhupada persuaded her secretary, Mr. Choksi, to speak up on his behalf. Prabhupada coached him on exactly what to say. I find this gentleman very inspired to go to the USA and preach Lord Krishna's message to the people there. But again, she said no. She was determined to protect himself in spite of himself. Prabhupada persistently demanded a personal interview, but she refused. Time passed, she ignored him. For his own good, she believed. Eventually, due to his tenacity, she acquiesced. He finally got permission to see her. He walked right into the room. Right off the bat, he said, please give me 1 ticket. She could see the total commitment and longing in his eyes, his determination to please his spiritual master and to fulfill the desire of Lord Krishna. It was simply not possible to deny him. And so she scheduled for him to get a berth on an old freighter called the JALADUTTA, which was sailing from Calcutta on August 13th, 1965. With deep concern for him in her heart, she saw to his needs, making sure that he would travel on a ship whose captain understood the needs of a Vaishnava vegetarian. Captain Arun Pandya made it a point to carry extra vegetables and fruits for the Swami on board. Now, my question to you in light of all of this, in pursuit of your God-given dreams, are you willing to go through a dozen no's? Will you keep trying if 5 banks turn you down? Will you stay in faith if 3 medical reports in a row are not good? Will you take a chance on meeting someone new if your last 2 relationships didn't work out? If you're to keep moving forward, you have to keep reminding yourself, yes is in my future. Yes, I will get married. Yes, I will establish that mission. Yes, I will be promoted. Yes, I will fulfill my destiny. I heard a story about 2 sparrows, a husband and wife. They laid some eggs on the beach near the ocean. When they came back, they couldn't find the eggs. They screamed at the sea. The sea had swept the eggs out with the tide. The birds cursed the sea and demanded that the sea return the eggs. And when the sea refused and laughed at them, they began taking out a drop of water at a time, throwing it on the land. We are going to empty you, they said to the ocean. The ocean laughed, called them fools. Some other little birds saw this. They said, what are you doing? The sparrows replied, we're punishing the sea until he gives our eggs back. The little birds thought it was a noble task, and they joined the sparrows. After a while, some bigger birds took up their cause. They also started taking out water, drop by drop. News of this effort reached Garuda, the king of birds and the personal carrier of Lord Vishnu. Garuda came and asked, what are you doing? The bird said, isn't it obvious? We're emptying the sea. Garuda said, no, it's not that obvious. The sea is vast. You'll never be able to do it. But the birds answered, anything can be accomplished with perseverance and determination. We read that in the Bhagavad Gita. Garuda was very impressed, and he said, let me show them compassion. I'll ask Lord Krishna to help them. If Krishna demands it, then the ocean will return the eggs. He went to Krishna. Krishna, I have never seen birds more determined than these. In the Bhagavad Gita, you state that you grace and bless those who have determination. If that's really true, then these birds are a prime example. Garuda told him the whole story. Lord Krishna said, this is pleasing to me. They're showing a spirit of patience and perseverance. This is how human beings should try to empty the ignorance from the sea of life, drop by drop. It's what seekers must and should do. The sea of ignorance is vast, and if sincere, true seekers need to empty it and replace it with knowledge and light, they have to do it in the same way, drop by drop, with determination. I'm very pleased with these birds. I will command the ocean to return the eggs. The ocean immediately found the eggs and returned them to the sparrows. And then Lord Krishna smiled lovingly on each and every one of the parrots, saying, perseverance, patience, and sacrifice are all of paramount importance in fulfilling one's destiny in life. The message from this story is clear. We have to be determined in our spiritual life to achieve our goal. God helps those who help themselves. When Lord Krishna sees our determination, te dvandva mohanirmukta bhajanti mam vridabrataha. When he sees our unwavering, our focused determination, he says he comes and he assists us in the attainment of our goals. I'm reminded of the method they used to train baby elephants in the circus. They take them when they're still small, and they tie a small rope around their legs and attach the rope to a secure pole. The baby elephants naturally try to walk away, and they're stopped by the rope. They pull and push and twist and turn, eventually figure out they're just not strong enough to break free of this rope, and so they stop resisting, stay where they are. Next time they tie up the baby elephants, they try to break away once again, pulling on the rope to see if they can get free. And when they figure out once again that it's futile, eventually they stop pulling and settle down right where they are. Same thing happens over and over and over again until when the rope is put over their leg, they no longer pull and push and try to break free because they think it's futile. And that's why in captivity, you can walk by a huge elephant in the circus standing passively with a skimpy rope tied around one leg. The elephant has become so accustomed to being held back by the rope that really the thought of the rope keeps the animal in check. It's not the rope that's holding him, but it's the limits that he's allowed to have been put on his mind. If he only knew that by the time he'd grown up, that rope could no longer hold him, and then they would know what true freedom is. But unfortunately, they don't. What happens to the elephant happens to many people. You may have tried to break an addiction for years, but you failed. You worked hard, but you didn't get the promotion that you sought. Maybe you pursued dreams, but you ran into closed doors time and time and time again. Like the elephant, you let this logjam convince you that it'll never happen. But my question to you tonight is, how do you know that in the meantime, Krishna hasn't removed the rope that was holding your back? How do you know that the next time won't be your yes? The rope separating you from your dream may have been up for many years, but you can break it in a split second. You never know unless you keep trying, keep dreaming, keep pursuing what Krishna, God, put in your heart. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Your yes may start out as a small, faint yes, a barely see it yes. But when you're expecting things to change in your favor, when you know that Krishna has a yes in your future, you're going to latch on to even a small sign by faith. You're going to say, that's my yes. Other people may not see it. They may even try to talk you out of it. Other people may accuse you of being just too positive, too hopeful. That's okay. We're going to be believers and not doubters. I know that's my yes. You may have had some setbacks or disappointments in your life. You tried things that didn't work out. Can I tell you, these were not a waste of your time? When you go through all the no's on the way to your big yes, you are passing the tests of faith, paving the way to success. Every challenge that you've gone through has deposited something on the inside. Krishna, God, doesn't waste anything. You're not defined by your past. You are prepared by your past. Just because you had some no's, you're not disqualified from success. Yes is still in your future. Do not feel badly because you're not where you want to be right now, this minute. Don't focus on the disappointment, nor the failure, nor the mistakes. Why? They were all part of Krishna's plan to get you to your yeses. Keep moving forward. Keep being your best. Keep honoring God, being determined and persistent. Krishna promises you tonight that yeses are coming your way in this life, and in the next life, you'll go back to home, back to Godhead. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.